I died on October 27, 1974. I was 58 years old. Before the war, I was a history student. I wanted to write about the past. Instead, I became part of it in a way I never planned and never fully made peace with. This is what happened to me. This is what I did. And this is what it cost. June 1941. I was 24 years old, and I was at Kyiv University, finishing my dissertation, living the life of someone who reads about war rather than fights in it. Then Germany invaded the Soviet Union, and the world I had built around books and lecture halls and the quiet accumulation of knowledge collapsed in a single morning. I went to the recruitment office. They looked at me and offered me a position as a nurse. I told them I was a trained marksman. I had been shooting since I was 14 at a shooting club near my home. I had a record. I had accuracy scores that most of their male recruits could not match. They looked at me for a long time. Then they handed me a rifle and told me to prove it. I proved it. What I'm about to tell you, most people who know my name only know the number 309. That is the figure history attached to me, and history is not wrong. That is the count of confirmed kills from my 2 years on the Eastern Front. But a number is not a story, and a story is not a number. And what happened between those 2 years? What the rifle felt like, what the scope showed me, what it cost to be very good at something that should not exist as a skill in a decent world. That is the part that stays with me. And what happened after the front, when they took me off the line and sent me to America, that is the part nobody tells. They sent me to Odessa first, August 1941. The city was already surrounded, and the fighting was the kind of fighting that comes when the enemy is inside the wire and everything is close range and nothing is theoretical anymore. I was assigned to the 25th Chapayev Rifle Division. I was given a position, a sector, a field of fire. I was told to hold it. I held it. The work of a sniper on the Eastern Front in 1941 is patience before anything else. You find the position before dawn. You settle into it, into the ground, into the vegetation, into the specific stillness that the body learns when stillness is the difference between living and not living. You wait. The scope narrows the world to a small circle of clarity, and everything outside that circle ceases to exist. There is the position. There is the field of fire. There is the trigger. There is nothing else. I am not going to tell you it was easy to feel nothing. I am going to tell you that feeling nothing was the skill, and that I had it, and that having it made me very effective and cost me something I am still calculating the total of. By the time Odessa fell in October 1941, I had 187 confirmed kills. I was moved to Sevastopol. Sevastopol was different. Odessa was a city being surrendered. Sevastopol was a city being held past the point of reason, held through a siege that lasted 8 months, held because the order was to hold it, and Soviet soldiers in 1941 and 1942 understood what happened when you did not follow the order. I held my sector. I kept the count. The Germans knew about me by this point. They had their own snipers, good ones, trained ones, men who understood the geometry of the work the way I understood it. They sent them for me. I know this because I found them first, most of the time. All of the time. There were close calls I don't discuss in detail because the detail is not the point. The point is that there was a specific, personal, professional hunting happening on both sides of the wire with my name attached to it on their side and their designations attached to it on mine. In those engagements, sniper against sniper, sometimes lasting hours or days of patient waiting in fixed positions, I won 36 times. I know the number because I kept the count. I kept the count of everything. By May 1942, I had 309 confirmed kills and a wound that took me off the line, shrapnel. They treated me and told me I was being reassigned. I thought, another sector, another position, another field of fire. They sent me to the United States. This is where the story becomes strange, because the story becomes about something I had no training for. Eleanor Roosevelt invited me. I was 25 years old, and I had spent 2 years lying in the dirt, looking through a scope. And then they put me on a ship and sent me to a country where the war was something that happened somewhere else, to someone else, in a way that had not yet fully arrived at the level of the body. I stood in front of crowds, and I gave speeches in Russian that were translated into English, and the crowds applauded, and I did not always know what to do with the applause, because applause was not a thing that had any equivalent in the world I had come from. A journalist in Chicago said to me, "How does a pretty girl like you manage to kill so many men?" I had been thinking about my answer to that question for 20 years before he asked it, and I still did not have a satisfying one. I told him, the question should not be about me. The question should be about why it was necessary. He wrote down something else. Eleanor Roosevelt was kind to me in a way that I found both moving and disorienting. The kindness of a woman who understood something about doing work in a world that had not entirely decided whether to let you do it. We did not speak the same language, but we understood the same thing. I have thought about her more than once since. They sent me home eventually. The war continued. I did not go back to the front. The wound and the value they had decided I had as a symbol kept me from it. I trained other snipers. I taught the patience, the stillness, the specific narrowing of the world to the small circle in the scope. I gave them what I could, and I kept back what I could not give. After the war, I finished my dissertation. I became a historian. I spent the rest of my life writing about the past. The thing I had always intended to do before the rifle. I was good at it. I found that I could look at large events from a distance and find meaning in the pattern of them, which is perhaps something the scope had taught me. That distance clarifies, that patience reveals, that the world is larger than any single position in it. I think about the 309 every day. I do not say this as confession, and I do not say it as pride. I say it as a statement of fact about what it is to have done a thing that cannot be undone. They were soldiers. They were there to kill us. I was there to kill them. That is the arithmetic of war, and I understood it then, and I understand it now, and understanding it has never made it way less. People ask if I regret it. People ask if I would do it again. I was 24 years old, and my country was burning, and they gave me a rifle, and I was very good with it. I did what I could do. I protected the people beside me. I held the line I was given to hold. Whether that is something to be proud of or something to be survived, I have been deciding for 30 years, and I do not have the final answer yet. I was a history student. I wanted to write about the past. I wrote it differently than I planned.